Alright, so it's that time again. It's time for another sketch. This is a sketch that I did a couple of days ago when I think I was on a webinar. I was listening to something and I just all of a sudden felt like sketching something. So it turned out to be a bobber motorcycle. If you haven't seen the new Triumph bobber, I love it. It's such a beautiful bike, even though it's I think it's a parallel twin. Somebody might kill me if I just got that wrong. In the Triumph, not in this sketch. This is obviously a V twin right here. But it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun sketch. Fun little doodle right here. But today we're gonna talk about the, let's see if we can find a clean sheet of paper first. Look at that Volvo. Oh my god. Did I go back to sketch that one or what? Let's use this one. It's a bit dirty still. Doesn't matter. Today we're gonna talk about the most important thing when it comes to sketching. I'm gonna give you a second to think about what that could be. Some of you might be thinking perspective, and that's important, but it's not the most important thing. And this is in my opinion, of course. Somebody else might say something else, but in my opinion, perspective, no. Is it line quality? No, not really. All right, so what is it? Well, for me, when I see sketches online and I see student sketches in the Sketch Monkey community group or anywhere, the biggest problem that I see is a lack of contrast. Because if you lack contrast in your sketches, that's gonna make it look shallow, and you're not gonna make it pop. We want to make our sketches like pop out of the paper, almost so you can touch it. And to accomplish that on a 2D medium, we need to add as much contrast as possible. So let's just start sketching something and I'll show you exactly what I mean. Let's start with something really basic. Look, we made a cylinder. Fantastic. You can add some thickness to this cylinder so the engineers are pleased, so they see a thickness here. Otherwise they're gonna come back to me and ask, what the hell is this? It's just a wall, there's no thickness to it. So we added that, and let's add some shading with a big pen so we can get an idea of where we are going to shade this thing. So let's keep it like that, and I'm going to show you now what I mean when you don't have enough contrast in your sketches using Cool Gray 2. Cool Gray 2 is obviously a very light gray, and I feel I already messed it up because I didn't even think what I was doing before starting doing this. But I think we can manage to solve this. So some people, this totally depends on your sketching style, obviously, of course. I'm not gonna say that my style is the best. Everybody else is not good, because that's not how this works. But some would probably stop right here and maybe add some big lines to fill in the lines that we just messed up a little bit with the marker. And yes, that's totally fine. Totally fine to stop right here if you want to have a really quick visualization of what it is we're doing or what we're trying to visualize. We could stop right here, that's fine. But it looks kind of flat because I'm only using one marker, and the marker I'm using is a very light shade of gray, so it doesn't give it's not exciting to look at. That's how we can put it, I guess. So what we want to do, we want to add contrast. So first of all, go in with at least another marker, if you have them, of course. So we're just gonna add, and this is a cool gray 5, so we went from 2 to 5. And that's not a big, it's not a big, not big, but it's not a complicated thing to do. But all of a sudden we can see that we're starting to get some more depth to this sketch. Just fill in the baseline, and obviously I forgot to tell you when I started this sketch is that as I say in almost, I think I've said it around 50,000 times or something like that, is to keep in mind where the light source is coming from, right? So in this case we have the light source shining actually from this side right here. Since this side is in the shade, that means that the sunshine or the lamp that's lighting this, spreading the light, is coming from the opposite side of where the shadow is. Makes sense? Very basic way of explaining that. And we can even go further than this. If we want to add, we can even add like one more. Actually, I'm gonna do that just to show you. So let's add the cool gray. Let's go into cool gray 8, and let's add that a few lines. So we have, I'm gonna add the cool gray 8 on this side right here. Yep, it was the 8. And also on the baseline. So if you notice how we started this sketch, started with a very light cool gray 2, and that's the marker that I'm gonna use over the largest surfaces. So I'm going to use the cool gray 2 the most because that's the lightest shade, and the darker we go, the less we want to use the marker. So we use the cool gray 2 in these areas right here, all the way around here. Then we use the cool gray 5 right here. So you see that it's getting smaller and smaller, the surfaces that we're using the darker shades on. And finally we use the cool gray 8 on an even tinier area, which is basically just to outline the sketch here. What we can do now is we go into even darker. So we're gonna use the cool gray. Actually, this is the black. And I like to have the full spectrum from black all the way up to white in all of my sketches. Annoying song, gotta change that. So I would like to have black to white in all of my sketches, just to make sure that I have the full spectrum and that I can't get any more contrast than that. It's not physically possible to have any darker than black or any brighter than white. So this I'm just gonna add on the outline here and also on the baseline. Maybe not all the way here. Half of the baseline we can add black to. Maybe make it even thicker over here, since it's in the shade. This is the shadowy part. And also in here actually, so let's add some black in here. Just like that. So we have 4 different markers. We used cool gray 2, cool gray 5 and 8, and then we finished off with the black. So now we have some contrast here. What we want to do now, and this is more important if you're sketching on a toned paper, we want to add the white highlights, but I already have white in here, so it doesn't really matter on this sketch, but just for the sake of it, I'm going to add it anyway. And I'm keeping in mind where the light source is coming from when I do this. And if we have a glossy surface, we might want to add, I don't know if this is gonna make sense, but let's just see what happens. Yeah, why not? It's not gonna make a big difference on a white paper, but in this sketch we have the full spectrum of going from black all the way to white. So don't be afraid to just add marker and add contrast to your sketches, because I think you're gonna see a difference once you do that. You might mess up a few times, and that's totally fine. Everybody messes up every now and then, except me. I'm just kidding, of course I do. But start with adding contrast and use the black markers. Black marker and white ink. Those are two things that you should have in your sketching arsenal. So let's sketch something else using this. Let's sketch a bike really quickly from the side view, I guess. So let's start with the wheels. One wheel and I think something like that should be fine. Let's add the axle, or the front fork, I mean, and then we should have a gas tank somewhere around here, and then we should have a seat somewhere around there, and we have the frame connecting these. And from here we can start to create some details. So let's add the gas tank. This might be a weird looking bike, but let's raise this up just a little bit. There we go. Let's add the thickness of the tire. Look at that circle, completely messed up. Same thing, this is this is crazy. Okay, I need to focus now to get this right. Alright, it's better. Still messed up, but it's alright. And let's add the details. So let's add an engine in here. Harley 1200. Why not? Like that. And we have some box under here, just fill up this space with some weird stuff. We have also, all bikes have a headlight, I assume. So let's add that. And handlebars, we need to finish the fork. Let's add the handlebars, like cafe racer style, going down like this. Cool. We also have a gauge, so you can monitor your speed. Weird position on that one, but that's gonna leave it like that. And then we have a seat. I like these kind of seats that go up like a ducktail. Let's add some thickness to the frame. And I think the frame here should go something like this. Like cut through here somewhere. We have the disc brakes. What else do we have on a motorcycle? We have an exhaust, of course, so let's add that. Not sure how I'm just gonna do it as I did on my last sketch. Keep it simple. And the exhaust going like this. Okay. Let's try to fill up the space with some weird stuff just to make it look like we know what we're doing. And let's just plant this on the ground with a little shadow like this. And we have a shock going somewhere here, right? We also have a shock on the front fork. We have some wires. Go into some ABS system or whatever. We don't need to sketch an ABS system, that's just ridiculous. Let's add some shading to this. Starting to look like a bike, I think. Radiator, cool. And let's add this little thing here on the tire. Tire usually look like this, something like this. Okay, enough with the big pen. So, let's add some contrast to this sketch now. And let's see if we can make it pop, because right now it's just a big sketch. Which is all good. If we don't have any markers, that's fine. We can stop right here and just have this as an idea. But I'm gonna come back with a big pen later to add some line weight to this. But for now, we're gonna jump into markers. Let's make a background here as well. Bam. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to do the exact same thing as we did with the whatever this is. So I'm going to start with a cool gray 2. Same thing here, thinking about the light source. Light source is going to come from the exact same spot, like there. Happy sun. A happy little sun up there. Some coffee. And change the song. Wait, I just gotta change the playlist. Let's see what we have here. Let's do some hip hop. Ricky Rose. Sounds good. Okay, so we have the tank. Add some light shading to that. Just add shading to add shading to everything basically, because we're using the cool gray 2, so we can go crazy with that one since it's such a light shade. And this actually looks pretty cool with just one marker. Gonna add some shocks here. It's messed up. Fill in the wheels. Obviously the wheels are gonna get darker than this, but let's just use the cool gray 2 for now. So we get a visual of what we're doing, because it's gonna help guide us later on. Fill in the frame as well. The exhaust, I'm gonna keep that So think about each single detail and how the details are shaped. For example, you see this round thing here? You gotta think of where it extrudes and where it goes in. And that's how you know where to put where to put the marker. Let's just fill in these blank areas as well. And the rear wheel, same as the front. So same thing here. If we want to, we can stop right here. We can go back to the big pen and just fill in the lines that got a bit blurry from the marker, and then we can call it a sketch. Definitely, totally fine. That's one way of doing things. And I kind of like the style also, but if you want to add some depth to your sketch, we need more contrast than this. And that's why we want to add a few more markers than just this one. Alright, so let's jump into Cool Gray 5. I might stop after Cool Gray 5 on this one actually. What we want to do now, so we have the first layer of markers down here. This is our guide to where the shading is on this bike and where the light source is. So what we want to do with a darker marker is to emphasize the shade. So the deeper in your shade you are, it's difficult to explain, but you see this this distance here of this shade. This part here is closest to the white area, to the highlight. So the further away from the highlight you go, the darker you want the object to be. So I'm gonna make it darker at the bottom here, obviously. Hope that made sense. It's kind of complicated to explain. Same thing here. I'm gonna add some darker to that one. I'm not a fan of this straight line here. So I might try to fix it like that. And then I'm just going around and doing this exact same thing as I just explained on all of the other parts. This wheel still looks like an egg. And we have the engine, add some more details to that. We have the radiator, the frame at the bottom is closest to the ground, so I want to add some darkness to that. Finally, same thing on the rear tire. We can add the shading on the ground as well. Then what we want to do now is to, let's see, we could go and do the Cool Gray 8 if you want to, or we can keep it like this and just go in with a big pen. I think I'm gonna just do with a big pen here. It just feels like the right thing to do for this specific sketch. That's totally a matter of taste, how far you want to take the marker part. Sometimes less is just more. Super cliche, but it's true. Sometimes the more marker you add, the more noisy it gets. trying to fix this into a circle and not an egg. And we want to define the wheels. Same thing here, trying to get it round now. The first ellipses that we do for wheels are just there for reference. I always try to get them as round as possible when I'm at this stage now, which is like semi-rendering stage. And we can add line weight to specific parts of this motorcycle to get the contrast that we're looking for. The whole point is try to add darker marker to your sketches sometimes. Just see how it turns out. You can add some line shading like that. And same thing there. Maybe define this a little bit more. This is one of those sketches where I like the dirtiness in it. I like that it's messy. Like you can see this shock right here. Looks ridiculous, but it still gives the right feeling still of the sketch. What else? Let's add some lines to this thing here. Same thing here, trying to make it round. Sometimes round is like super hard to get right because I'm looking at it from this angle, and then when I look at it from your angle, straight from the top, I can see that they are not round, but add some shocks, line weight, not sure how the frame at the rear looks exactly on a bike, which is why I'm just visualizing something here. It's kind of to just give an idea of what it is I wanted, because I have the rest of the bike pretty much down, but this area right here I'm not certain about. So I'm just trying to not give this area too much attention. I just keep it like that, which is why I didn't put any marker here or anything like that. The brain will just fill in the blanks and complete the picture, basically. So I think we're done with this sketch. I think that's it. And with this video as well, maybe. Not sure what else I can do with this motorcycle. I'm kind of happy with it as it is right now. Maybe this rear wheel should just go in a little bit that way. The wheelbase is too long right now, in my opinion. So yeah, that's about it. Contrast, add contrast. Try to get the full spectrum of from black all the way to white, and make your sketches pop. That's the topic of this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, as always, help me get to 20K by the end of the year by liking, sharing, and subscribing to my channel. I hope to see you next time. Take it easy, guys.